So this is a redo of the grow table introduction. I will be explaining a little bit about how it went together, as well as updating you guys on the growth of radishes, as well as introducing the wheatgrass. So I guess let's begin. So what we started out with was 3 55-gallon drums. All three of these 55-gallon drums have sections cut out of the top like this that allow us to lay them on their side and still have access to the drums. We have them all connected through the back through some 2-inch PVC. We'll be walking around the other side to show you that. They're all being aerated with these bubble stones here through this air compressor here. As you can see, we have gravel sitting in the bottom and some pretty healthy goldfish swimming around. Most of the goldfish like to hang out inside of the tubes in the back though, so you can't see very many of them right now. Let's see. It pumps from here. We've got the pump over here. So the pump is right there. Let me pull this out so it makes it a little bit more clear. The pump is right there, and so it pumps from there up into the top of the grow table, flows through the grow table, and then back down into the drain manifold back over here. So this drain manifold is connected to the top through a bulkhead fitting, and then it just has a 2-inch threaded nipple on it, and then two 90s that snake it around back into the opening on the other side. So let's take you around the other side so we can show you how we connected all these together. So they're all connected together using the pre-existing threaded holes on the 55-gallon drums. These were difficult to thread because of this line right here where they cast them together. So there's that line that runs all the way through. For the plugs originally, they make them slightly smaller and they put a rubber gasket on it so those lines don't matter at all. So they just twist them on and then it seals against the gasket, but that didn't work in this situation, so it took a little bit of thinking and ingenuity to be able to figure out how to get these to thread on. So I'll be doing a separate video on how to thread these on so you don't have to spend a bunch of extra money on bulkhead fittings or anything like that. So it drains in through this bag. I just have this here to collect any sort of sediment that goes through. This is also my fish rod or whatever. I use this to clean out any dead fish that I find, which hasn't been too much of a problem yet. So it drops down through here and then it flows through here, and then we were having an issue over here where it was bypassing this tank and it was just going right past it into this other tank back over here. So the way that we fixed that was we put a baffle right here, which pretty much just cuts this 2-inch in half right here by putting a piece of plastic in place. So we put an elongated D shape, completely solid like that, and so the water flows in through here, hits that baffle, flows back out into here, and then has to travel through this barrel to come back into here again. So it keeps them all at a constant temperature, and, instead of this one being a good 10 degrees cooler than the other two. So we've got our basic, I'm going to be redoing this, just some basic electrical plugged in right now. So it comes, so I guess what we'll talk about is the pump system right now. So it pumps from this black line all the way up to the top here, into a barbed fitting here that slips into a threaded coupler, which goes up into this T and then through this Schedule or Class 125 PVC. I drilled some 3/8-inch holes in here to allow the water to flow out evenly across the entirety of the table. So this is my biofilter that I have here. It's just a bunch of pumice and river rock and stuff like that. And somebody asked me, I don't remember the username, but somebody asked me why did I put this in here like this instead of just have it flow through the perlite. So the reason I have behind that is because I don't know if I'm going to be moving this. I don't know what's going to happen with this perlite. So if the bacteria is growing on here already, granted it'll be in other places throughout the system, the majority of it would be in the perlite. So if I remove the perlite, then I'm removing a majority of the bacteria, which would stunt the growth of the plants, I'm assuming. So by having this biofilter in here like this, it allows me to move the perlite whenever I need to, and the majority of the bacteria is going to remain in here. This was pre-primed. This was from an industrial system that I've built, where I'm selling lettuce to a restaurant. So this stuff is already has the bacteria on it. So I figured that I might as well just put it in here and get this thing started instantly instead of having to wait for that 2-week period for it to cycle. So I guess let's go around so I can show them the other stuff. All the Swiss chard's doing okay. We put in, this is just sitting in dirt right now. What is that? I forgot what it's called.
Kale.
Yeah, kale. So let's go around. Oh, and this, as you can see, lets in a decent amount of light. I mean, sure, it cuts out some of the UV, but as far as the fish go, actually, let's close this like that, go around the other side, and then shine it through. So then you can see through. So as you can see, there is a decent amount of light in here. So as far as the fish go, they're not in complete darkness. Somebody else was mentioning that it's inhumane for me to keep them in darkness, when realistically they're not actually in darkness. It's just a little bit difficult to tell on the old camera. And actually, I don't know if it's going to be easy to tell on this camera or not. So we'll see. All right, come back up. So this was the experiment that I started a few days ago. As you can see, I've got some sprouts. These are all radishes, and 4 of the 6 techniques worked out. So this double mesh dog screen here worked out perfectly. There's just enough water leaching up through it to get every single one of these, except for that seed, I guess, almost every single one of these seeds to sprout. This gauze here worked out pretty well also, and they're actually starting to root into it a little bit, it looks like. But what's most important to me is that it was able to sprout directly in the perlite. So the reason this is important to me is that means I don't have to spend money on gauze or this other screen over here, and I could grow it directly into here. One of my concerns, however, is that as these grow up more and more, they're going to get heavier and heavier. So my concern is that they'll just drop directly through the perlite and fall to the bottom, and if that's the case, then that's a crop lost. So these right here, once I pull all these rocks off of it, I've got wheatgrass started in here. So previously, when I planted these, only 3 of these techniques worked instead of 4. And that's something else worth mentioning, is this one took an extra day. This has the gauze underneath it with the mesh on top. It took 1 extra day for this to sprout, and as you can see, it doesn't have a consistent sprouting here. So these 3 methods so far are the best. So we're going to find out, using this wheatgrass here, which way is going to be the best. So with this wheatgrass, we have this gauze here. This green stuff, I think, is just algae. I'm not sure, though. I'm going to figure that out later. We have a gauze material. We've got that dog screen material. And then we have them sitting right in the perlite. So, as you can see, there are root structures starting. They are sprouting a little bit. However, it looks like not every single one of them are. So what we're going to do is we're going to figure out, they all have a pretty similar amount. This is 1/8 of a cup, this is 1/8 of a cup, and I think this is actually 1/16 of a cup. So we'll see which one has a higher ratio of sprouts, and that'll be very easy to determine once they are grown up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back over, cut out the sunlight again, keep the heat in, and I don't know. I think that's the end of it. So I'm sorry for the video cutting out sometimes. We were having some problems with memory cards. Rather, we don't have a memory card that isn't already full, that's big enough to do a full segment of this. So I'm having to record in like 2.5 to 5 minute intervals here. So I guess I'll keep you guys updated. Thank you for your time.